Hey, we're streaming live on YouTube. Welcome to the party, everyone. It's the Crypto Lark. We're going to be talking about all kinds of fun stuff today. We're going to be talking about Australia's recent law where they're going to be banning certain cash payments. We're going to be talking about what's happening over in Zimbabwe, looking at privacy coins, thinking about the Cookie Monster, all kinds of fun stuff going to be happening today in the chat. So welcome, everybody. So today, I wanted to start off by actually taking a look back in time at where we were a year ago. So this is 1 year ago today. Welcome to the chat, everyone. Interview with Blocknet. Yes, we do have the Blocknet interview coming up this week. Spencer, what's going on, man? Welcome, everybody, to the party. You know, one thing as well about the interviews, guys, I'm trying to do a few less interviews moving forward, although next week I got 3, but in general, we're going to try and do a few less interviews on the channel, because I actually want to get back to doing a bit more of, reviews and stuff. As much as I love doing the interviews, and I think they're a really awesome resource for you guys as far as getting great information straight from the source. But at the same time, I love doing reviews, so it's surprising, actually. The interviews actually take a long time to put together as far as, researching for the interview, doing the interview, editing the interview, all that stuff. So there will still be interviews, but maybe a few less than we were doing before. So my Eastern Edge says, is Holochain on the agenda today or not? It is not on the agenda today. I have not had a chance to research it yet, my friend. But it will be coming soon, so definitely keep an eye out for that to come here in the near future. Oh, Mr. Harry Lasagna in the house. What's going on? Okay, awesomeness. So, that's just an update on that. So sometimes, actually, these interviews, so if you guys are wondering, like, what happened? Weren't you going to interview those guys? Well, sometimes, every once in a while, interviews get, they missed their schedule, whatever, and we can't meet up. So even though it was planned, they don't always come off. So what are you going to do? Need to sleep at some point, says Spencer. That is absolutely true. Ian finally made it to a live stream. Welcome to the party. Aeon. I'm a big fan of Aeon. I think it's still got so much potential moving forward. It's crazy. It's definitely a long-term hold of mine. Crypto zombie in the house. What's going on, man? Wish you were coming to Consensus, Lark. Yeah, I wish I was able to make it to Consensus too, but we've got a lot going on here right now with the cheese business, and trying to get this education course out for you guys is a massive undertaking, but I'm having a lot of fun doing the education course. So it's still, compiling massive amounts of information. We're building the website, building slides, and it's a lot, but I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to be able to finally present this education course to you guys, but it's still a few weeks away, so, stay tuned, guys. Are you thinking we are bullish coming into Consensus? Asks Spencer. Yes, I do. And so this is actually the snapshot from 1 year ago, guys. Now, this is May 14th, 1 year ago, of course, which was the lead in to Consensus. Now, historically, Consensus has been a big pusher for big growth, because there's so many deals that get signed, there's so many things that happen, and it's actually quite amazing. If you look back a year from now, and I know people are going, oh, Bitcoin's $8,000 something something. Yeah, but it was like, it's still 4x gains on where we were 1 year ago. Take that to your bank account, something to think about. And you look at Ethereum was $90 a year ago, guys. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Litecoin, of course, 1/5 of the value that was as well. So when you kind of look across the markets, you realize, wow, actually long-term holding gives you some really awesome potential here, which is pretty cool. Now, going into Consensus, historically, we have seen a massive run after Consensus. So we've seen this big kind of last-minute sale deal going on here with cryptocurrencies at the moment. Bitcoin's still down 8% on the week, but all this red, basically everything in the top 100 has taken a big hit, except for Bitcoin, because it got listed on Binance. But other than that, most of the stuff is down. That means you have all these great sales leading into next week, which is pretty cool. So if you're getting in, You're setting those buy orders, waiting for the dips, of course. Hopefully you already got the dip that came through. But then you're also setting your sell orders, right? If you want to, of course, do some of those short-term runs, because there might be a big run as far as that. Vikrant says, I went vegan this week. Congratulations, man. Welcome to the party. What do we got? Look at Pundi X, please. I like Pundi X. I haven't had a chance to actually... Oh, Crypto Numbnuts in the house. What's going on, man? I haven't had a chance to actually, do the full revision of Pundi X. I've mentioned it quite a few times, and I wish I'd got into the ICO. I was sitting there looking at it, I was like, I don't know, Indonesia FUD going around right now. And of course, I bought into the Indonesia FUD as far as Indonesia cracking down on cryptos. But in the end, of course, it was the wrong decision to make. But that's okay. There's a million ICOs out there, and there's a million opportunities to make. So, I always kind of have this feeling that if I miss out on an ICO, there's always another really good one right around the corner, and there's just a flood of really good ones. Of course, a tidal wave of really bad ones, but that's a different story for a different day, perhaps. Discovered the morning following my purchase of Coopit ICO that McAfee was on their board of advisors. McAfee's on a lot of board of advisors. Remember, it's a sold position, right? So they pay McAfee 1 or 2% of their tokens to be an advisor on the board. And he's an advisor for quite a few companies. Much in the same way that McAfee gets paid to say, hey, this coin's going to be the next best coin ever, or whatever it might be. And hey, McAfee's got his thing, and that's cool, but I just wanted to point out that him being on the board of advisors isn't necessarily, it's a legitimacy thing, because I know his team researches stuff. McAfee's not putting his name to scams. He's smarter than that, without a doubt. But it doesn't mean that he's bringing massive utility, except putting his name there and adding a sense of legitimacy to that ICO. So take it for what you will. Elastos. Oh man, what a project. I feel you. Elastos is absolutely awesome. It's one I got like a list of stuff that I need to buy here in the near term future, and Elastos is one of those on the lists. Lark, do you have any thoughts on the CFD token, the Richard Hart project? First time hearing about it. No idea. No idea at all. So we shall see. We shall see what it comes up to. Anyway. One of the big topics I wanted to talk about with you guys today is actually going to be about what's happening over in Australia at the moment, because it's a pretty worrying situation what we have going on in Australia. So essentially what we are seeing now in Oz, next year, they'll be banning cash transactions over $10,000. That's crazy. Now, we're just going to add Australia in to the long list of countries that have done this. We covered a story a few months ago where I think it was Portugal at the time was adding a cash restriction where you can't buy anything for more than 3,000 euros in cash. It's against the law. You're going to get fined if you get caught spending your money. Adam asks, what are your thoughts on 0x? Everything I've seen about 0x makes me like it, but I want to do a proper review on it for you guys. It is high on my list of coins to review, so I might even get to it next week. Maybe. We shall see. Now, think about the ridiculousness of this situation. You go to work, your 9-to-5 job or whatever it is you do, right? So you go to work and you make your money. That's cool. You pay your taxes. Great. Now, if you want to go and, let's say you don't trust the banks. Maybe you just don't like banks. Maybe there's not a bank in your village. How about that? There's not a bank in your village. You are an unbanked person. You live out in the middle of the outback in Australia. You don't have a bank. You don't even have a bank card. You're an old school farmer. You just buy stuff with cash. Crazy situation, right? But a lot of people still live like that. Now, let's imagine you're just saving up all your money and you need to go buy a new tractor, right? You're a farmer. You need to go buy a new tractor. That tractor costs $30,000. Cash money. You take your cash money. Boom, the cops show up. It's an undercover sting, man. The SWAT teams come in and stuff. They're knocking you to the ground. You're buying stuff with cash. What are you doing? That's crazy. And if you think that sounds crazy, you should reference back to the FBI sting operations of Amish people selling unpasteurized milk. And they had like the SWAT teams and stuff come in for that. So it's a crazy situation. I know what they want to do, right? The idea is they're saying, well, yeah, but if you buy that tractor, you're probably, the guy who you buy the tractor from is probably not going to pay taxes on it, right? And this is where it comes in. Now, should that guy pay taxes on it? Well, in the grand scheme of things, yes, he should, right? Yeah, taxation is theft, and it's a ridiculous situation. I mean, look at Australia now. They've just upped their military spending, and they've just put a new priority on being a top weapons exporter, as well as signing deals with, Saudi Arabia to export weapons over there and stuff. So that's what a portion of Australian taxpayer money goes to. So if I was an Australian guy out there hanging out, I might not want to pay my taxes either, but he should pay his taxes because that's the system that we have all agreed to live in, or at least maybe we haven't agreed to live in it, but we simply live in it. Anyway, Seth says, thanks for the review on VeChain. Forgot to mention the DNVGL partnership, their most important connection. Yeah, Seth, I know. There were just so many partnerships. It's basically overwhelming how many crazy partnerships VeChain has. But maybe that's one I should have mentioned. But I didn't highlight that one enough. But nevertheless, good partnership for them to have. How absurd are their priorities, says Colton. Yeah, that is absurd. This is the thing. Think about all the stuff going on in Australia, right? And Australia's got, on a large scale, really has their crap together. I got to be fair to Australia. But there's all these things going on. And this is the thing they decided to focus on. Yeah, we're going to crack down on cash transactions. Probably at the same time they're cracking down on these cash transactions, they're probably letting all these giant multinational corporations export all their money overseas and not pay anything on it. It's the classic situation. You register all your profits in Ireland under a shell company, and then you register all your losses in a country like Australia or the United States, so you get taxed back because you had losses. It's such a broken system, guys. And here they are. They're going to tell you what you can or cannot do with your money. Colton says, why does a middleman in a suit need to intervene on a person-to-person transaction? It's morally wrong. Amen, it is. This is the thing. There should be no one intervening in that transaction. But now the government wants to. And this is, look, Australia, like I said, it's not a unique case. There has been so many countries that have been doing this, and it's going to keep coming and coming and coming. The war on cash is a real thing, guys. Countries are cracking down on it because when everything's digital, everything's taxable, everything's traceable. And if you think that's going to help them capture the money from the big corporations, no, they have the lawyers and accountants necessary to offshore their profits and onshore their losses. This is targeted at regular people. Now, keep it Crypto 420. If we don't all start taking this shit serious, we're going to stand by while these evil people are destroying the world. It's absurd that we even allow people to have the ability to blow up a nuke. Yep. There you go. There you go, guys. This is the thing. The governments have taken this authority, and that sucks, but they have it right now. And we keep enabling them by continuing to pay our taxes, but you're stuck in this catch-22 situation because, well, you might have a moral opposition to paying taxes that support destructive industries or support corporations which are cheating the system or support the war machine and all this different stuff. If you don't pay your taxes, you go to prison. Stop and think about that for a minute. You can't opt out of the system. Maybe you'd like to opt out and say, hey, you know what? I don't want the public health care. I don't want the free education. I don't want the roads. I'm going to walk everywhere. I'm not going to use the roads anymore. Right? But it's not like that. The reality is they want control, especially on the small people and especially on the small money. And that's where cryptocurrencies come in, guys. This is exactly where cryptocurrencies come in because now with Bitcoin, you can pay for that tractor. So our Australian mate there who's going to buy his tractor for $30,000. Now, Akshay says, I think banning cash is good for cryptocurrency mass adoption. Exciting times ahead. Indeedy. I think this is a good thing overall. I think it will really help push cryptocurrency adoption in a very positive way. Now, when you're using cash, one of the things that is problematic is, of course, you are supporting the government who issued that cash. Bitcoin is a global currency. You can use it in any country to settle things. Well, of course, some countries it's illegal, but you can still use it. No one has been able to stop Bitcoin yet. They've tried. They can't do it. They failed terribly at it. It just keeps going. And so, if we think about how these cryptocurrencies can enable a better than cash ecosystem, it's really exciting. It's really, really exciting, guys. Now, the one thing is, let's imagine that situation, because you got to keep it real. If you are buying Bitcoin on an exchange and then using that Bitcoin later and transferring to someone's address, they can track that. It's really easy to do because you have to do KYC for basically any exchange these days, right? Now, let's say you're a cryptocurrency miner. Well, that's a different situation. You are minting new money yourself. You are not just your own bank. You are your own reserve bank issuing your own money. That's powerful stuff that has no tracing anywhere, right? You could mine it all into a one-time address, planning on buying that tractor, go, spend the money for the tractor, and then you start mining at a different address after you buy that tractor. And if that guy wants to go to a regular exchange and cash it out, they can trace it back, but they'll have no idea where it came from. Now let's go a little bit farther. I think privacy coins are going to be such a big, big part of the picture here. Because the thing is, Bitcoin's a public ledger, guys. It's rather traceable. You know, it's pretty easy to connect the dots. And if, like I said, you can have a private address, if you're mining in particular, there's a lot more possibility for that. But let's focus on privacy coins. I was just telling someone the other day how you could essentially make $100,000 disappear if you wanted to. So let's say you had a bank account in Australia, right? You have $100,000 that you want to move around. And so you buy $100,000 worth of Bitcoin on an exchange, for example. That doesn't become a taxable event until you cash it out later on, right? Some point in the future. So what you do, you send that over to, for example, the Waves DEX. You cash that onto Zcash. Once it hits Zcash, it's basically gone. Now, they can, of course, track it to your Waves DEX account. The thing is, after that, you just open up a new Waves wallet, you transfer the Zcash over there, you transfer it back into Bitcoin. See you later. Now, this is the one thing that I'm also worried about, is that as governments kind of figure out that the privacy coins are actually the ones that have privacy features and are not traceable, they're going to start cracking down on those. We've already seen a couple of exchanges saying they don't want privacy coins because of these exact features. Now, of course, the thing that's going to come out is that, hey, it's all drug dealers and terrorists and all these different things. No, not really. I mean, drug dealers and terrorists and all these different people, they all use fiat currency. And no one, of course, says, hey, fiat currency's the bad guy here because all these drug dealers use it. And, of course, some of the world's biggest drug dealers are the game players anyway, guys. You got to keep that real. Why are drugs illegal in the first place? I don't want to get off on a tangent there, but that's a question to ask yourself. You know, the marijuana thing, why is that illegal? It's a crazy thing. Now, privacy coins are going to be absolutely institutional here because once more and more DEXs take off, they're not going to be able to stop them. Imagine if that farmer paid for his $30,000 tractor in Zcash or in PivX. Nobody would know. Let's imagine that out in these small Australian towns, instead of using the Australian dollar, they just started using PivX for everything. Nobody would know anything. It would all be under a veil of secrecy. Now, I think that exchanges will start to crack down on these privacy coins more in the future. But the DEXs are going to be the absolute saving grace here because, for example, the Waves DEX, once it's up and running, you guys can't stop that. The Neon Exchange, Barter DEX, when they get some better user interface functionality, is going to be a powerful thing. So, let's go to a few comments here. Vikrant, have you had a chance to relook at Substratum? They released their open beta last week. Oh, interesting. No, I haven't had a chance to keep up with Substratum. It's so hard to keep up with what's going on with every individual project, but I'm really happy to hear that they have released their Substratum talking about, freedom and privacy and all this stuff. The guys over at Substratum are delivering a nice project for making the internet a better place, a freer place, which is important. A lot of the infrastructure that we're using now, the infrastructure for banking, the infrastructure for the insurance industry, the infrastructure for the internet, a lot of it's outdated and a lot of it has centralized to a few different players that have all the power, of course. Scott Perry says, are you not concerned more governments will make the exchanges remove them for their citizens? Remove them for their citizens, especially after the NEM heist. Scott, are you not concerned more governments will make the exchanges remove them for their citizens, especially after the NEM heist? Well, you might see that, but the reality is that you're not going to be able to stop some of these things. Governments are trying to stop it. And that's going to move me on to my next story of the day here, guys. And this is something that I did mention briefly in my news video the other day, but I really wanted to expand a lot on more for you guys today because I think this is such an important story. And I know it's just little Zimbabwe, but these little countries matter. And they do. They really, really do, guys, in a big way. Now, Zimbabwe has come out, central bank has come out, banning all financial institutions in the country from all crypto dealings in every way you can think possible. So again, what we have is a situation where a central government, which has been totally inept over the past 20 years at handling the economy, totally screwed everyone, destroyed all wealth in the country, now telling people that they are not allowed to access the tools that are going to let them access international markets, let them access relatively price-stable payments between each other. Governments have proven time and time again to usually not have your best interests at heart. I remember there was a study that came out, and it was in the US, but I think that you probably apply this to many countries and get a similar result. I can't remember exactly. I think it was done by Harvard or Stanford, one of the big universities. And they basically went out and said, hey, we've done a research over the past 30, 40 years. And the numbers might be a little bit off here, guys, but the main idea remains. And they found that in the United States that the overwhelming majority of policy went against public opinion and almost always went in favor of big business and government. And in that situation, you got to go back and wonder, why would people not want to pay their taxes? Why would people want to deal in cash or in crypto? More importantly, in crypto, because it lets you really circumvent these systems. I think that now what we're going to see in Zimbabwe will be an absolutely, probably one of the most vibrant black markets for cryptocurrencies in the world, outside of China, of course. The Chinese black market for crypto is out of control. But the Zimbabweans, they've got a taste for Bitcoin now. Jeff Berwick just went to Zimbabwe recently and did a nice report from there. And you can see Bitcoin's a thing there. It's widely accepted and people, they've got signs up everywhere. Of course, they won't now. But you don't think that economy is going to start absolutely flourishing underground? It's going to explode. No way to make something cooler than to try to ban it. And I think Zimbabweans, now that they've got a taste for cryptocurrencies, in particular Bitcoin, they're going to look and go, wow, that's such an easy way to send money to South Africa. I don't need a bank. I don't need Western Union, who's going to screw me with their giant fees. In fact, I'm sure that this central bank ruling came from the exact people who control the remittance offices and things like this in Zimbabwe. But the reality is now in Zimbabwe, And look, I'm not there, so I don't know the exact penetration rates of Bitcoin, but from Berwick's report and from things that I've read and things that I've seen, it seems like you actually be able to use cryptocurrencies in enough places to buy things that you could probably get by if you have your relatives in London sending you cryptocurrencies. You might be able to use those in the streets. Whereas if you are getting dollars or pounds sent, they probably get converted into the local money, which is basically worthless. And yeah, very, very problematic, guys. Online billings. Binance CEO isn't exactly bullish on DEXs. He says currently too slow, too vulnerable to be credible yet. I haven't heard him say that, actually, but I wouldn't be surprised because he's got incredibly high standards, which I think is part of the reason behind pushing this Dexathon, because he really wants to see the best ideas come to the surface. I have a feeling that when we see the Binance Dex, it's going to be something really nice, to be honest. So I'm pretty excited about that when it does come out. Rich Token says, chance to check out Holochain. Someone asked a bit earlier, but I'll answer again. I haven't had a chance to look into it. I'm pretty sure it has won the Community Coin of the Week. So I'll be reviewing that. I'm 90% sure it won. I haven't actually checked back, but it ended earlier today, I think. So that should be the Community Coin review this week. T says, due to the evolution of cryptocurrency, I feel the world governments will be forced into a flat tax if they don't want to miss out on billions of dollars worth of taxes. I'd be okay with that. T, I think what we might see in the future is actually a very interesting situation where through decentralization, we can actually take back more of the power as humans, as self-sovereign citizens. Most people are lazy and they don't want to do this, but when you're lazy and you outsource your security and your rights and your voice to someone else, then you basically agree to their agenda. But if you actually had a situation where, just imagine for a second, and this is kind of some of the stuff that kind of gets me excited about cryptocurrencies overall, but let's imagine that there was a yearly vote and all the citizens decided on how they would like to see the tax money spent. Instead of letting some I don't know, monkeys, actually that's a discriminatory statement against monkeys, actually. Some politicians in some capital city deciding how they are going to spend your money. What if you actually decided how your money was going to be spent? Let me just take the example of America. For all the Americans out there listening, would you decide to spend the majority of your tax revenue on the military? Do you really think that the government needs more $200 ashtrays or billion-dollar aircraft carriers when it's already got more than the rest of the world combined? Most people would probably say, you know what, I think we could probably find a few more dollars for schools. Or, you know what, I feel like we could find a few more dollars for fixing our bridges or for fixing the lead-lined pipes of Chicago, for example. I think it'd be a very different situation. So yes, as Akshay has said, the government has failed us, but crypto will save us. Certainly crypto has the possibility. And look, I feel like we're at this time now. T says, I meant a fair tax, not a flat tax. Oh, a fair tax would be good too. I'll take that as well. But I feel like we're at this time with cryptocurrencies where you could really see the whole movement getting very easily hijacked by the powers that be already, and we'll see a bunch of permissioned private blockchains become popular. Like, come on, if Facebook develops a blockchain and a cryptocurrency, you think that's going to be for your benefit? Hell no. Hell no, man. It's just going to make Zuckerberg even richer so that he can steal some more land from Hawaiian people or whatever he might do with his billions. Got to keep that real, guys. Scott Perry says, wheelbarrow of Zimbabwean paper money to go to the store for a loaf of bread. Yep. Think of the citizens and the people of Zimbabwe. Exactly. And the same situation in Venezuela. You know, David Hay did a recent video, maybe it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago maybe, but he had bought a bunch, like $50 or something worth of Venezuelan money. It was just a stack of money like this on the table. Hundreds and 500s and thousands and all this stuff. Completely worthless. Probably the value of the paper would be not, so far away from the reality of it. So Online billings. Does anyone know why Hoskinson and Buterin are boycotting Consensus? Well, for Vitalik, I think he came out and said that he didn't like CoinDesk, basically, and that they had been promoting some, I don't know, allowing advertising on their site that promoted scams or something along these lines. Of course, I saw a good response to that. Was that, well, yeah, but Vitalik, Ethereum's been used for all these scams as well, so, what are you going to do? I think that was kind of Vitalik's mentality. For Charles Hoskinson, he came out and said, basically, why should we pay thousands of dollars to go to one of these conferences? There's many more important conferences to go to where you can connect with people who are bringing out new ideas instead of, just this kind of big power money networking event. And hey, look, if I didn't have so much stuff going on here, I probably would have gone to Consensus, but I really feel where they're coming from. Look what Charles Hoskinson's just done, and I guess we'll just flip over to the next slide here, so to speak. Charles Hoskinson has been cruising around the continent of Africa. He went to Ethiopia and he went to Rwanda. And George, my credit chain, please. My credit chain. There we go. That's all I know about it, man. That's all I know about it. I think I opened up the website once or twice. I can't remember anything about it, man, to be honest. But thank you for your contribution. Sorry, I missed your earlier contribution, man, but thank you very much. Now, the guys over at IOHK, Hoskinson's been cruising around Africa, and I think it's really cool. They go to Ethiopia, and they sign a memorandum of understanding with the government, and they say, hey, you know what? We want to train people in blockchain. You guys got to come over here and watch this. IOHK, a vision for blockchain in Africa. This is such a cool chat. Just Hoskinson, he's just one of these guys. He's got a great mind on his head. He just gets it. There's so many great quotes from this short 9-minute video, but it's really good. And I think the thing is that blockchain has an amazing opportunity for everybody. For people who live in the Western world and hey, it's great for us. We can go out and buy a Bitcoin and get some Lamborghinis, man, and some Teslas and stuff. Well, that's cool. Everybody likes cars, I guess. Right? But the reality is that these tools, if you look at the developing world, right, the global north and the global south largely, we look across Southeast Asia, we look across the continent of Africa, we look across the continent of South America, we look across Central America, we realize that this is where it needs to start. These are the people who need the tools. For us in the West, it's, yeah, cool, we're going to build a dApp that's going to be like a product review or something, but for people in developing areas, they're going to build amazing stuff. They just need the know-how. And so when IOHK goes there and they say, hey, we're going to invest in training people in blockchain in Ethiopia so that they can be the developers of tomorrow, so that they can build the tools that will help move your country into the new century in an exciting way. Same thing in Rwanda, of course. So this is really cool. I love the vision of, Hoskinson and what he's trying to push forward. And yeah, Cardano is a project I'm a big fan of, in case you haven't found out at some point on the channel. But nevertheless, the potential for blockchain to deliver a lot of social goods is pretty awesome. And so to take it back to the consensus question, consensus is overpriced, guys, but I realize where CoinDesk is coming from. They look at it and go, wow, we can make millions of dollars by hosting this event, and people are going to come and pay because the networking opportunity alone is amazing. Amazing. All the top people are going to be there. Well, I should not say all, but most of the top people are going to be there. A lot of the top cryptocurrency YouTubers, probably hundreds of new ICOs will be there. A lot of the top projects CEOs will be there. And just on and on and on, the media and all these different people. So it's going to be a real big event, right? But the reality is that it's just an event where a lot of people come together. They sign some deals, they have some parties, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll see all kinds of photos on Twitter of like box mining hanging out with everybody like, no, I want to come hang out too. But, that's okay. It's absolutely fine because there's the thing with cryptocurrency conferences is there's like 10 a week, even though that's the biggest one of the year. And there's actually some super interesting ones. I've been talking to the guys from Paxful, and they're going to be doing a tour, I guess a string of conferences across Africa in September. And so I'm talking to them about maybe we can find some way to cooperate and I can go and hang out and go to some of those conferences with them. That could be really interesting and really insightful to talk to, people on the ground. Because this is the thing that I've found overall is that the reality of what you think about something and the reality of how something is often very different. This is one of the reasons why I love traveling. I've been all over the world. I've been to very harsh places, we could say, where people really struggle, and I've been to really nice places where people don't struggle at all. And of course, you find across the board, people are kind of the same. People are usually friendly and generous and all these different things, and they want the best for their families, et cetera, et cetera. Big life picture, right, Lark? But the thing is that what we need is to bring everybody up. The system, and we talked about this the other day in one of the news videos where last year 82% of the wealth went to the top 1%. That's a broken system. All research has shown that that's a broken system. When one small minority is taking the majority of the wealth, it's bad for everybody, including them in the long run, which is one thing they kind of don't accept. Maybe they just think, well, we'll just take the trillions now and the billions now and it'll be fine. Well, it will be largely fine for those guys, but the reality is you can't keep living in a world where half of the world lives in dire conditions, and it's pretty easy to say from my comfy house here in safe little New Zealand, but man, we got to bring these tools to people. And that's the amazing thing about decentralization, and I'm so glad that so many of these projects, they actually get it. They do. I keep trying to get the CEO from BitPace on, man. I've been chasing her around forever, and they never even respond to me, but I'd really love to talk to her because they're doing really cool stuff in Africa, as the continent wide, right? And the guys from Paxful are doing really great stuff in developing nations, helping give people the tools to do things for themselves. And so when we see more and more people actually getting those tools themselves and being able to take care of themselves, people don't need handouts, man. In fact, handouts kind of don't really work. They might, for a temporary situation, okay, there's a famine in your country, well, we're going to, feed everybody so that everybody doesn't die. But what they've found out, the aid organizations, for example, we've seen a situation where the aid organizations come in and they're not actually very incentivized to fix the problems. They like putting Band-Aids on. But if they fix the problem, well, then a lot of people lose a lot of jobs at that aid organization, don't they? And they've done studies where, well, if you keep giving all these people free food, they're less incentivized to go out and plant their crops next year. And on and on and on it goes. But if you say, hey guys, here are all these future tools to develop the things that you need. In this video, Charles talks a little bit about the coffee industry in Ethiopia, how you could put coffee in the blockchain and all these different things. So this stuff all has real world use, real world potential. And the other half of the world, guys, it's half the world. The other half of the world, they want the tools. People like IOHK are giving them the tools. And in fact, actively, they're going there and investing money to give them the tools. Binance as well. Chengpeng Zhao was just there visiting, I think, Rwanda as well. And I think he was in Nigeria. I think maybe another country. No, that was Bermuda, and that's, of course, not in Africa. But anyway, besides the point, he went to a few different countries, and he invested. He went there and said, hey, we're going to invest. We want to teach people blockchain. We want to teach people about cryptocurrencies. We're going to start a school for educating people. Education, man. Boom. Give it away. Give it away. Give people the knowledge, and they will do amazing things. B. Thomas says, teach man to fish. Amen. Amen indeed. All right, let's go on to our next story. It was about Dex's. Oh, the Cookie Monster. Oh my God, this guy, the Cookie Monster, aka the Binance Monster. Now, Weird story, but I thought I'd share it with you guys because I like sharing the weird stories. As you guys know, it's a total switch from our previous, more serious conversation. But cryptocurrencies have been receiving a lot of popular press recently. And I love it. I really do. You know, we had the Big Bang Theory earlier this year. We've had there's an HBO or Showtime show called Billions, and they had I keep all my money in this Ledger wallet here. Cool. People are going to see that for the first time. What's a Ledger wallet? What, Bitcoin? You guys don't realize we're living in a bubble to a certain extent. So many people still haven't heard about this stuff. So do the world a favor. Tomorrow when you go out, tell a random person about Bitcoin. Strike up a conversation. Walk into a shop. Hey, you heard of Bitcoin yet? Just see what they say. Silicon Valley, they've also been talking about it quite a bit, which is really cool. You know, Will Smith, he interviewed Sophia the robot, which isn't necessarily cryptocurrency related, but obviously it gives a bit more press to Singularity Net. More and more and more, we see these things going mainstream, which is cool. Which is really, really cool. Colton says, I tell literally everyone I meet about Bitcoin. Amen, dude. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love to hear that. People need to know. This is the thing. Just think of it this way. I would be upset with my friends if in 5 years they say, oh, hey, you didn't know about that Bitcoin thing I was investing in 5 years ago? Oh, well, I guess I just forgot to tell you. You forgot to tell me. You forgot to tell me about Bitcoin? Are you kidding me? You're killing me here, man. What's going on? Anyway, the Business Insider Australia has interviewed the Cookie Monster. This is a story, guys. I did not make these things up. The people put this on the internet and I just talk about it. Colton says, when he makes transactions, he asks if it's a payment option. Only 2 times ever was it, but that's cool. Hey, 2 times better than 0 times, man. That's cool. It's, I love the whole idea behind it because when you go in, you say, hey, do you guys accept Bitcoin here? Maybe when you ask whatever, some guy talking about Bitcoin. And then, next week somebody else walks in and says, hey, you guys accept Bitcoin here? Maybe. No, we don't accept Bitcoin. They start thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. This is why I'm always chasing these charities on Twitter saying, hey, you guys accept Bitcoin? I write them about once a month. Half a dozen different charities that I like. I write them about once a month and say, hey, you guys accepting Bitcoin yet? Every once in a while, they'll like my comment or something like that, but I just keep doing it. And I hope that one day they're going to be like, yes, we accept Bitcoin. Finally, stop bothering us. That would just be amazing because it would just, again, be a mass adoption thing. It would really help push it, guys. Mark DeSessa, I have introduced over 100 people to Bitcoin. Nice. I love it, man. That is super cool. Think about that. And 5 invested, which is awesome. But think about the other 95 people. At least they know. About it, man. That's so awesome. That is so awesome. Spencer says, I keep telling them, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Amen. And I think that Mark's numbers relate that, but some of those horses are thirsty. Guys, remember, some of your friends are thirsty. Anyway, the Cookie Monster. We're going to talk about the Cookie Monster here. Now, the Cookie Monster has been interviewed by Business Insider Australia. They talk about Bitcoin briefly. Now, it's kind of a funny story, guys, but I think that the next generation, the earlier we can get to them, the cooler it is. Now, this is kind of fun and goofy, and yeah, okay, cool. The Cookie Monster, he does what he does. Of course, we had Crypto Kitties. That's kind of cool. Helps get kids involved. I think a really interesting one coming up, and I'm going to be reviewing this project later in the month. Pigsby. I don't know if you guys have heard about this yet, but it's like a hardware wallet for kids in the shape of a pig with a little pigtail on it. And essentially, it's going to be a game that helps teach kids about how to use cryptocurrencies, about how to save, about how to invest. Like, think about that. That's super cool. I didn't learn about any of this stuff until like way later in life. And most people don't. But imagine if you get to the next generation early. How many kids in 15 years, if this project becomes successful, how many kids in 15 years, their first cryptocurrency will have been the Wolo coin on the Pigsby app or on the Pigsby hardware wallet? Cool. Like, really cool. That's awesome. A whole generation of kids will grow up, yeah, if I got into Pigsby, and they'll look at us like a bunch of, well, we'll be old men, I guess, by that point, but they'll look at us like a bunch of old men, David says, is it okay to advise youngsters that they should learn coding? Yep. I read a really good article a while ago that said, people for the economy of the future, you really have to take things into your own hands. You got to find investments. You can't, of course, obviously we know we can't trust our governments to have our pensions there when we retire. Look at how many governments around the world have totally screwed that up for their citizens. If you think you trust your government, well, take the United States, for example. Would you trust a government that has more than $22 trillion in debt? Does that sound like someone who's fiscally responsible and you're going to be guaranteed in 40 years to still have your pension sitting there? I would not trust them. You got to take your own life into your own control and have your own skills. Skills that are going to be massively relevant in the future economy. It's knowing how to produce your own message, right? Learning tech, learning how to make a website, learning how to code, learning how to, make YouTube videos, simple stuff like that. Provide value for people. And that's what's going to be successful in the future, guys. So to teach a kid coding, that's awesome. That is totally setting them up for a great future run. Okay, let's answer a few questions here. What are your thoughts on Aphelion? Says Cryptomania. Pretty excited to see their wallet come out. I downloaded it, had a look at it. It's nice. It looks pretty clean. Obviously, though, a wallet is not enough. We have to see the DEX. Is the DEX going to work? Is it going to work how it was promised to work? Let's see. It's nice to finally have liquidity for investors that it's trading on KuCoin. Definitely happy about that. I want to see the DEX actually working. And then I'll be all in, more excited about Aphelion. But I'm really happy to see they delivered. I know a lot of people were a bit iffy about it because it was kind of a white paper ICO. And you never really know with white paper ICOs. They can be a little bit, hit and miss. But they've delivered a wallet. The DEX is about 2 months out. So we'll see how they come out with that. Spencer says, I've talked to my daughter about it many times. Good. We need to get her a Pigsby, man. I'll get one and send it to you, Spencer. That can be her first cryptocurrencies. That's my niece, guys, by the way. And she will never have a bank account. So funny. Just was speaking with my wife about transferring my kids' piggy bank into crypto. Well, there you go, guys. There you go. This is the thing. Get them a Pigsby wallet when it comes out. You'll be able to, and the cool idea is, of course, imagine you're a family, you live in London, grandma's in the US, grandma A's in the US, grandma B's in New Zealand. Well, both grandmas can now easily send money via cryptocurrencies, of course, if you have some switched on grandmas, that is, but they can easily send money to the kids straight into their Pigsby wallet. That's cool. Now they've got their savings. Now they've got their weekly allowance. Right? And now they can, of course, go online, spend that money. It's pretty cool. I think it teaches kids a lot of great skills. Scrumble Network. Been hearing a bit about it, but haven't had a chance to look into it yet. McAfee had a wonderful interview the other day. Trust with what? Without a reference point, there is no statement or question. Interesting. Haven't seen that interview, but McAfee does what McAfee does, man. He's an absolute character, but to be honest, I think McAfee is a good advocate for cryptocurrencies just because he's so damn outspoken. He will tell anybody who will stop to listen about cryptocurrencies. He's that dude on the bus that just sits down to you like, hey, hear about Bitcoin yet? Why not? Listen to me. I'm going to tell you about Bitcoin right now, which is cool. If you guys are talking about Bazant, I think, was that the one that's being launched by a few of the team from Icon? If I remember correctly, it was the fastest selling Asian ICO pre-sale ever. Sold out in an hour for the pre-sale. There's only 4 million left for the main sale. If anybody wants to, get involved. Seems like it's going to have a bit of hype around it. Hype seems to be building around it without a doubt. Any thoughts on Fusion? Fusion's kind of one of the undervalued projects in comparison to the other projects that the same investment group has built. Fusion might have a very exciting future if it can reach the same levels as Quantum or VeChain moving forward. Remember, it was built by the same investment group, with people behind the same investment group. So time will tell with Fusion, but it certainly seems like it's undervalued compared to the other ones. Have you talked about Wanchain's president stepping down? I have not, Lane Anderson. It's the first time I've heard about it. It happens. People move on. People do things. But I haven't heard about, haven't read about it. I'll have to look into it and see what his reasonings were and different things like this. Make a little note here. Wanchain, Dustin. We'll look into that a bit later. G-Dub, do you reckon politicians will ever be held accountable for the promises that they break with smart contracts? Gosh, G-Dub, I hope so, man. That would be, that would be a great step, to be honest, for politicians and the political process overall. But of course, maybe we don't really need politicians anyway. Maybe we just need, ironically, if people don't really like bureaucrats, maybe we just need bureaucrats to run departments and we can be our own self-sovereigns that decide the rules for a country. Maybe I'm thinking too far into the future here, but certainly we could see a world like that where more informed citizens, that I guess part of the problem right now, you look at the education system, and this is another place that blockchain could be really big, and no one's really found super compelling use cases yet, but I think they're out there to be found. You know, so many people right now with blockchain are just recreating the exact same thing all the time. We've got 20 or 30 different freelance platforms now. They're all going to be the Fiverr killers. We have, oh God, how many institutional grade exchanges can there possibly be? Because there's so many of them. There's so many ICOs bringing out that exact same idea. But some really interesting, innovative solutions for education with blockchain could be massive. Because remember, we're moving towards a society of mass digitalization. And in that situation, the jobs of the past will have to change because they simply won't be there anymore. We'll need jobs of the future. We'll need citizens of the future. We'll need people who can be rewarded by being jurors. And that could be your full-time job and you get rewarded by the smart contract. And, you know, it doesn't have to be paid by the government. It could be paid out in cryptocurrencies which have value. There's a whole level of economy here. You could be just an online food reviewer. Get paid in cryptocurrency rewards for contributing to a platform. There you go. There you go. Scott Perry, love the passion that you show when you talk about this cryptosphere. Love to see a collab with Zombie, Candor, Chico, and the Blockchain Brad crew. Good people over there. I'd like to talk, I think I might be talking to Blockchain Brad again tomorrow. I'm not sure. I think he might be busy this week, but definitely it's in the mix, guys. We'll have to have a chat with one of those guys one of these days soon, hopefully. What's happening with WePower? Less than the ICO price last I looked. Yeah, WePower's getting trashed by the market, man. It does happen. And it's unfortunate because, you know, they've just been delivering, getting new partnerships, and they've come out and brought their platform, or at least the platform demo, out recently. So, yeah, I don't know. Market decides weird things, man. But I feel like WePower has been really hitting their goals and doing a lot of very cool, proactive stuff. Time will tell. But yeah, it's unfortunate that it has gone the way that it has. Nathan, would you team up with DataDash? Yeah, sure, man. DataDash is a busy guy, though. It's only a question of, getting a hold of him. T, thanks for the info about Pigsby. I've been looking for a way to introduce my 11-year-old daughter into cryptocurrency. Sounds like a great way to do it. Amen. You should go check it out. Check out their website. I'll be doing a full review on it in about 2 weeks for you guys, but don't wait till then. Get out there, man. DYOR, check it out. They've got a really cool video. It's just simple. It just lays it out, basically what they're doing, and it's kind of a feel-good project. I like what Pigsby's doing. It's just educating the future generations on cryptocurrency. It's awesome, guys. It's absolutely awesome. Okay. John, I'm a financial advisor, old school. Here you go. Once more platforms come out to make it easier for people to understand crypto and buy it is when we will see bigger gains than the start of the year. And it's happening, guys. We're seeing those exact projects coming out. It's going to be easier and easier for people to get involved as we move forward. Look at, for example, what Ethos is doing, right? They want to make it as easy as possible. CardStack, man, what a cool ICO. They're going to be making it super easy for people to get involved, which is cool. The Crypto Lark, have you seen Childish Gambino's viral video? Yeah, I watched that last night, actually. I'd seen it trending last week, but I finally got around to watching it yesterday. It was actually pretty good. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. Good watch, interesting critique on whatever he's critiquing exactly, different things, but nevertheless pretty cool. Have you looked into Modern Finance Chain? I have not. Ooh, my personal price prediction on VeChain. Jason, it's an interesting question to ask. I get asked the question a lot, what is your price prediction on X coin? But I think one of the things that you're missing here, Jason, is by what time? What is your time frame? What's my price prediction for VeChain tomorrow? Well, you can go look at the charts and see, try and infer where it's moving. Okay. Are we looking at the 10-year from now value for VeChain? Well, that's a question to ask too. Are we going to see, of course, this kind of .com bubble happening where we see, which we are seeing, guys, 5,000 ICOs this year. 5,000 ICOs this year. That's worth repeating because that's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But that's what we're going to see this year. I'm telling you, by the time we get to 200 or 300 different Fiverr killers, something's going to have to change. Some of those projects will disappear. So I think VeChain's going to be a survivor, though. VeChain's a very strong project with bucket loads of really strong partners. But I'm not going to give you a number because numbers aren't particularly useful. I mean, do you want a number versus Bitcoin? Do you want a number versus dollars? I think VeChain's a very powerful project and still has room to grow. And that's the price prediction I will give you. Throwing out a random number. I could throw out a random number for you. It's easy to do, but it just depends on so many conditions in the market. And obviously, how much success we see with the mainnet and how successful the partnerships actually are in real life, how many more new partnerships they bring in, what gets built on top of it, etc., etc., etc. There's so many moving pieces in crypto. But I think one of the important things, and perhaps what you're really looking for in that question, Jason, is to think, well, what can I get out of it? And I think that VeChain is a very powerful project. You should have got it in November. Obviously, it's not too late, though. I don't think it's too late for VeChain. I feel like it has the staying power to be one of the big ones. So if you get into VeChain, the question that you need to ask yourself is, what do you want out of it, Jason? Do you want to do a short-term flip where you make you buy it for $5, you sell it for $6 the next week? Watch the charts, learn how to read them. Do you want to go long-term on it? Do you want to be in it for a year or 2 years and ride that wave? Still room to grow, man. Still room to grow. Think about that. Could it 10x? Would not be surprised at all. But it depends so much on market conditions and how that grows moving forward. So time will tell. Anyway, I hope that goes some way towards answering your question. Nulls would be my main price prediction question. I say 3 figures by next year, says Mark. It's been following the Neo Ant shares path. I like Nulls. Nulls is cool. Nulls is cool, indeed. Lark, have you heard about B2B coin? First time hearing about it. Lark, you mentioned Ethos. What is your thoughts on Pillar? Who do you think has the advantage? Is there space for both of them? I have not, I've had a lot of requests to look into Pillar, and with 5,000 projects coming out this year and 1,000 plus projects already on the market, it's hard to keep track of them all, and I have not had a chance to look into it in any meaningful way besides opening the website and having a brief look around. But the one thing I can tell you is that if they can bring out a decent product, and if they can get a community enthused about them and get some decent partnerships, of course there's space for them. We are so early, guys. You think about how many banks are there around the world? Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of them. How many insurance companies? How many, different companies all around the world? It's crazy, guys. There's definitely space for more than just one universal wallet investing service like Ethos has to offer. There can be a lot of them, guys. Will protocols market caps always be higher than utility coins, asks Vikrant. Good question, Vikrant. Now, the question is, again, time frames. This is the thing, is I don't think, for example, Power Ledger's never going to be worth more than Ethereum. I would be surprised anyway, unless Ethereum goes to absolute garbage for some reason and it dies, and then I don't know. It'd be a weird situation. I don't see that happening. But certainly some of the protocols that are out there may never achieve the same kind of market caps that, Cardano and EOS and all these projects have. Ethereum in particular, of course, it's a monster, and as the market continues to grow, will probably only be more monstrous, even though the others will cut into their market share. But certainly some of the utility tokens that come out on top of some of the smaller platforms, they may indeed go way bigger than the platform themselves, which is kind of a funny situation, but I could see that happening. I could see it happening. Anyway, hasn't happened yet, but certainly something to watch out for, I guess. What do you think of IOC coin? Never heard of it. First time. Do you think Howdo is a threat to Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, all these things rolled into one? What are your views on Travel Block? Haven't heard of it. Howdo, only looked into it briefly, but you guys got to remember there's a lot of competition out there for that exact space. So they're going to have a pretty compelling message. They're going to have pretty compelling partnerships. They're going to have a two-market strategy that's able to attract millions of users very quickly. It's going to be hard. It's very competitive. I don't know if they have the team. I haven't looked into it enough, to be honest. But certainly there is a lot of room out here to shake things up. But remember, Facebook's looking at blockchain solutions, so if they actually bring that out, could be a real trouble spelling situation for these other projects. Dan says, it's keeping your data secure. They don't sell your data. Well, that's not new, Dan, but it's definitely nice to hear. There are others that are not selling your data. Minds already has an existing user base of millions of people, and they also don't sell your data. So there you go. Dan says, have a look into it. Another YouTuber dropped $50K live as an investment. That is definitely a publicity stunt, isn't it? I have no idea who that is, but there you go. Somebody decided to spend $50,000 live on air for some reason. I don't, yeah. Such publicity stunts are, I don't know, a bit silly, to be honest. Because I don't think, my personal opinion about such things, I don't think you should be running around, throwing your money around in a public way. I think it looks quite silly, to be honest. Keith Waring did it. Keith is a silly move, I don't know. But that's, Keith does a lot of very public investment stuff, so it's not my cup of tea. Throwing that out, I've got nothing against Keith, guys, but I think that's a bit of a silly publicity stunt for an ICO like that. So, but hey, that's just my opinion, guys. Jeremy asks, would you consider doing a review of Holochain? Let's just go have a look here and see. Did Holochain win? I think it did. Let's go have a look here. We're going to check on Twitter here real quick, guys. See if Holochain has won or not. We're looking in the wrong place. Let's just have a quick look here. Check out and see. Did Holochain win or not? We put this out the other day to see if it was going to be oh, look at that, ba-da-boom, 46%. So to answer the Holochain question being asked, it will be on a review this week, guys. So keep an eye out for that. It will be coming. I'll probably do it Thursday, Friday, something like that. But it's coming, guys, so give away $1,000 for 50 weeks, says Mr. Hey Lasagna. Expensive marketing. Indeed, indeed. Thanks, Jeremy. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. We'll see that review coming up soon. I know there's been a lot of excitement around Holochain. So, by the way, guys, let me know down below in the comment section, not in the chat here, but in the comment section of the video, because I'll look at them a bit later on. What coins would you like to see as next week's community coins? So we're going to put 4 on for the vote. So put those up there, down there in the comment section, I guess. Zilliqa has addressed some of the FUD on their Twitter, Telegram. Zilliqa is here to stay. You know, I haven't looked into what the Zilliqa FUD is, to be honest. And I'll have to hop off here in a second, guys. But I haven't looked into the Zilliqa FUD, to be honest. But once you start getting to a certain level of market cap, you got to start dealing with some FUD. And if you can't deal with the FUD, you're done. If you can deal with the FUD, nice. Nice. That's the way it's done, guys. So, there you go. Anyway, guys, I'm going to let you guys all go for today. I've talked about crypto enough for the moment anyway. Watch out for, of course, more videos to come soon, guys. And I will see you guys back here next week. So, thank you so much to everyone for hopping in and joining the chat, for having this great conversation going on up here. You guys are awesome. It's always a great time to come out here and just talk crypto for like an hour and, you know, hear some awesome questions from you guys and get some awesome comments. And of course, I see the conversations going on up there, so it's super cool to see, you know, you guys talking back and forth. And of course, guys, thanks to the admins for helping keep the conversation a family-friendly place up there in the chat. So thank you so much to everyone for coming out, for asking questions, for hitting that like button, for sharing the videos around. You guys are awesome. And I will see you next time. Long live the blockchain, and peace out.